Welcome back, Wayfarer. Let's go ahead and get started. Frank Monday back again like Finnegan. So if you have a yen to expand your kin, then let's get zen. With the 100-day challenge, way of the Psyonic agent. Make sure you hit the like button. Come back later, leave a comment on the video. Appreciate that. Check it out at the coffee page, Frank Monday. And with no further ado, holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So 'tis commanded and confirmed, so mote it be. Amen. Hail unto thee who art raw in thy rising, even unto thee who art raw in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahor Koit abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of the night. Remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. Love is the law, love under will. Do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Ad astra, prosperum, carpe diem, Wayfarer. Welcome back once again to the transmission. FM radio coming to you from the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, Twilight Zone, Old Peking, far behind the bamboo firewall. Wizard, warrior, wanderer, wayfarer, and wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission, welcome. So, with no further ado, we shall get into the course content. Yeah, this is an open stream, guys. If anyone wants to join and chat about the ideas we've been going over, we do have someone in the ideas room. Welcome, Lady Paranorma. Hey, no, I had a drink, grab one. Coffee martini time, nice. Good looking out. There is the link if you'd like to join panel discussion for the psionic agents. Anything and everything you'd like to talk about, make sure to tune in. Of course, as always, lines are open to paranormal encounters. So if you have had a paranormal encounter or heard of one recently, make sure you call in and tell us all about it. You could always consider a one-time coffee donation over at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday and pull something in the tip jar. You can also join the Discord and chat behind the scenes with yours truly and others. Make sure you subscribe your grandma, grab her phone and secretly add her to the Frank Monday mailing list. That way we can get to 1,000 subs. Sub a friend, share a video, help me reach 1,000 subs. That would be cool. Then we could officially get public funding, I think, at that point, right? Maybe not, who knows? Remember, no new horror can be more terrible than the daily torture of the commonplace. So that's why we get into it. That's why we get at it, so that we can break through the daily prosaic and synthesize the vicissitudes and our pathway through it with the zodiacal crown swirling above, the tetragrammaton at the foundation of one's being. the five elements swirling within. I like to start the day with a little aphorism, like to choose to be positive, to choose the highest divine energy to generate in your being and cultivate through your life as a workshop of the subtle origin of the craft, of the pathways of a wayfarer, a hermit, a guardian and guide, reaching out to others along the path. We're all here to walk each other home, I think the great Buddha said. And so start your day with positive energy. This is a great affirmation. Launch into the next one to be grateful for all that you have. What are the things that you are grateful for? What are all the beautiful things in your life? The breathing, the thinking, the feeling, the cultivation. That's even before you open your eyes, right? You stroke down the kingdom, breathe in the spirit, and then fathom those things which you saw in the realms beyond. You might even journal about them if you have a proclivity towards prophetic dreaming. If you're engaging in good work through lucid dreaming, maybe something of interest. Bring back a golden coin from the Fathomless Cavern, as it were. Next up, being capable of achieving great things. The furry puppies, I don't know what those are. Yeah, be capable of achieving great things. The great work itself is before all things. Creation of man by himself, that is to say, the total mastery of his faculties and his future. It is essentially the completion of the great work, conversation and communication with one's holy guardian angel, the higher divine genius, seated at the center terrestrial Dantian, balancing, temperance, one hand up, one hand down, the magician in the workshop, as above, so below. He's got the fire and the little demon down in the infernal Dantian, and all those gaseous states rising up, transforming through the magic of the magician, and then up the tree of life into the boughs and the tops of the branches to view the full moon emerge from behind the clouds. Your angelic form, red gold wings, vibrating at a high frequency in the celestial Dantian. The three guardian angels of the temple. Yeah, good magic. Next up is embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. So thinking about the daily vicissitudes that you will go through, the people you will encounter, and they'll be of all different natures. Some will be for you and agree with you, others will be indifferent, and some will diametrically oppose you, right? And so to cultivate your magic in order to be able to respond to each in the proper manner. Each series of events and situations and people and places that comes at you is like the Gordian knot, right? That it's resolved through the magic of your practice. Finally, number 5, once you've plotted out the day ahead with your magic and your spiritual cultivation, then you start to take action, right? Take your first steps forward, engage in your kung fu magic, your spiritual cultivation, synthesis of energies, and deriving quintessence in your life. The elixir of immortality, the tonic of clarity and wisdom. Of course, while we're in a deep and relaxed state of meditative, calm understanding, and we can contemplate the left and right of the temple, oscillating pillars of mercy and severity, the yin yang taiji tu, appearing in time and space, swirling endlessly, manifesting all things in all directions. Well, the central manifestation, right? The cosmic particle, differentiating in the human life and giving birth second, right? Expressing itself as the Trinity, and then the Tetragrammaton, the five elements, the eight angles of the octahedron, and how those two halves of human experience harmonize with each other and cultivate, the engineer and the gardener, and bringing about all good human spiritual cultivation. Also, the magic incantation of abracadabra. All right, here we have it here. Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it will be opened unto you. So real magic starts from those basic sigils, right? So we have Aleph, the A, and all things being born from that primary wholeness, that original oneness. The Aleph, the Alpha. So that's the ask and you shall receive. Then the S, the Shim HaMephirosh, the manifestation of the fiery energy, going out in all directions, seeking, right? Seek and ye shall find. And then the Caliph, the knock, Caliph, the knocking at the door, and it will be opened unto you. You might want to take a moment to contemplate that deeper meaning of the incantation of abracadabra, Aladdin's lamp. The fiery magic wand of the plasma energy, the becoming, the spark, the divine spark, the angels of fire, the Shim, bringing that deeper inside you, right? So from the A at the top, the Aleph, the Ata, bringing it down in, the Shin, tapping the central Dantian, and down into the lower Dantian, the knocking, knock, 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 which reverberates and recreates the whole process, right? The flash of the lightning down the tree, and then the smoke going back up to be the alchemical elixir that becomes another flash. Over and over again, up and down the tree of life. The basic process, as learned through the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, is to breathe in and concentrate the Valantia, the Valantic intent, the wizard's will, the Yi, as we call it in Chinese, Yi Dao, Qi Dao, Xue Xing. When the E is present, there is manifestation of the subtle energy, the will focused into the triangle of art. Then the decreeism, the casting of the circle, the understanding of the recognition and understanding of one's area of direct control, whether it be a thought, word, or an action, using this threefold principle. And then the paucism, the collection of all that fruition of the magical energy down at the base within the prime material plane, kingdom of Malkuth. So you can see how it descends down from the supersensual realms into the realm of the manifest. Volantia, decreeism, and paucism. Focus your wizarding will into the triangle of art. Decree and speak into being abrahadabra, that which you command to be true, and then rest in the throne of reception as all things are brought to you in whatever form you desire. Whether it be commanding a weather pattern, riding the clouds and firing lightning bolts from your fingertips, to sinking into cosmic vortices of purple haze and being able to travel at light speed in any direction beyond light speed at the manifestation of thought in any place. Contemplate your UFO there in the horizon before you, manifesting the reflection of your energy, swirling like wheels within wheels, God force of energy, bringing forth manifestation. You can place your consciousness into that vehicle and go all over the surface of the earth and beyond into the cosmos. This one representation here shows you exactly how real magic is done. The higher divine thrones, the powers above, and you too can command them, ride within them, sailing on the cosmic seas. Welcome back, Wayfarer. Hope you are doing well. According to the ancient teaching, Lao Tzu said that those who know do not speak, and those who speak do not know. So what can we do but speak, though, right? Obviously, it's the only communication medium we can have within certain formats, like the format of a podcast. Yeah. Other formats, though, we can do other. Yeah, so the basic process in learning the psionic powers is a mimetic process to be able to remember all of the things that need to be achieved in meditation, self-hypnosis, self-induction, all right? Your magical wish list. So starting by inducing the energy with a deep breath in, hold for a moment, and exhale, relaxing the entire body from the upper dantian all the way down, aligning plumb through the center and lower dantians, all the way out through the legs and into the ground, recognizing the various guideposts along the way. So from the base of the spine at the coccyx, the tip of the tailbone, you want to sit approximately at that level where your perineum is free at the edge of the seat to dangle above heaven. Ideally, your legs and feet should be at 90-degree angles, right? The thigh at 90-degree angle to the hip, the lower leg at a 90-degree angle to the thigh, and then the foot a 90-degree angle to the body, right, flat on the ground. And this is the so-called Egyptian style or ancient Taoist style. They would have a wooden chair where they could sit perfect at the base of the spine with a slight arch in the hips, and then the shoulders slightly thrown back and dropped, the head upright, head and chest upright, chin dipped just slightly, but at the same time the top of the head suspended as if from a single thread, with the crown of the head, pulling the head up like a brick on a string, right? Dangling. And then the tongue to the roof of the mouth, eyes slightly opened, but mostly closed. So eyes closed, but slightly cracked open to let in a little light. And then the eyes actually looking upward toward the crown of the skull. And so maintaining this exact posture. So that's the first step, is maintaining the posture for the entirety of the meditation. And then the next step would be breath control. So you start focusing on rhythmic patterns of breathing and formulaic breathing. For example, one of the easiest ones is just inhale, hold for 3, 2, 1, and then exhale and relax. But a more advanced would be the fourfold breath, where you inhale on 4, hold on 4, exhale on 4, and then hold on 4. And do 4 of them. So we can try that together. So all together on once you've achieved the posture, maintain the posture, right? Upright posture, plumb, sitting plumb. You could have your legs crossed if you like, if you're more attuned to the yoga style. But the Egyptian or Chinese Oriental style is that seated style I described a moment ago. And then inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. And then continue rhythmic, natural breathing, allowing your center to radiate the energy, and each inhalation pulling dynamic, vibrant, enthusiastic energy in, holding it, let it absorb into the being and purge out the negativity, and then exhaling the dark smoke of tension and anxiety and vexation, any form of negativity leaving the body, descending directly into the earth. Preferably do it outdoors if you want, as a visualization and practice, right? As a natural qigong, pull in the vibrant energy of the natural world and then exiting all of the noxious energy into the roots and shadows of the foliage around you. So if you practice outdoors, you can practice with the interaction of plants. But if you're indoors, then you have to do it within the astral temple. That's the best way. So enter into your astral temple, stand behind your altar, or imagine one on the astral if you do not have one, and then practice the pulling in of divine energy and pushing out of the negativity or toxic energy. This is a basic cleansing meditation, right? Of course, you probably want to begin by casting Kabbalistic cross and casting your circle, and then circumambulating the altar. You could do all of it mentally if you don't have the space set up. That's what's meant by doing it within the astral temple. And of course, much more than that, in fact, right? Of course, as always, invoke often and inflame yourself with prayer. Any invocation you can memorize and use often is good. All right, like Liber Res Helios, Liber Res Helios, and all of the invocations in the Path of Tao invocation of total integration and various invocations to awaken things and bring things forward. Additionally, adoration of Arax, the adoration of Abraxas, the one I wrote based on my learning from the Arbitel of Magic. So you can practice that one if you like. I typically like to do it at the opening of a video of a transmission or when I'm cruising around. But yeah, I do that one quite often throughout the day. I like it. It's a good one. I mean, it doesn't serve everyone, right? Obviously, it has very blatant Christian undertones to it, right? Or overt, even, yeah, blatant, overt Christian influence. But people needn't be against various religions, whether it be Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, Christianity, any that have sworn death upon others, though, I would say to avoid. I don't know if there are any like that, right? But I may have heard of a few. The Hermetic order is a good one if you enjoy studying the Hermetics. Hell, even the Lord's Prayer, right? Some people like to recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Yeah, good magic. That works. There's a fun one in the Wiccan tradition. I'm not exactly sure where it comes from, but there's a song. I don't know if you guys know it or not. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that roared, all that falls will rise again. We all come from the Godhead, and to him we shall return like a spark of flame rising to the heavens. We all come from the Godhead, and to him we shall return like a spark of flame rising to the heavens. What's the next one? Sage and crone, wisdom's gift shall be its own. Crone and sage, wisdom is the gift of age. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return. Right, there it is there. Good magic. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I remembered all the lyrics, so that's good. There might be more, but I think I remembered the gist of it. So that's good. That's not always easy to do. I don't think I've sang that one in quite a while. Not exactly sure where it came from, but I remember it from the Wiccan tradition. I don't know if I ever told you guys this or not, but I lived in San Diego, California, and on the very street that I lived on, at the top of the hill, Scott Cunningham lived, and he's the writer of many books on. He might have been one of the originators, the OGs of the Wiccan tradition, and I bought probably all of his books that were in print at the time. Very gay, flowery, poetic, witchy magic, right? He was gay. He was super gay. He had gay parties at his house and stuff. And tragic thing, I think he died of AIDS at a young age, like 32 or 33, I believe. Maybe closer to 40, but it seems like he was really young. But I went to some of his parties for sure, yeah. And I visited his house a few times, and he had a lot of books and a lot of friends. Man, he was a really gay dude. Like he would just love everyone. And but yeah, he didn't last long, which is sad. But he wrote a lot of shit. Again, very poetic, very lyric. I learned a lot of his early incantations when I was young. I had his books of poetry and read some of it. And like I said, I met him. He was there, man. I didn't really know him, though. I was just, how old was I at that time? Maybe 17, 18, 19, something like that. But I didn't give a fuck about anybody but myself at that age, like most of us do, right? I already knew everything. I was practicing kung fu and qigong and doing sex magic, and I had a library of my own. But it's amazing that so many wizards lived on that street. Like I wasn't the only wizard. There were a couple of female sorceresses that also had their parents had huge libraries, and they lived on that same street. And they would one of them brought me like crystals from crystal caverns and stuff a lot, and other gemstones, and we all just had fun and fucked and shit. And it was great, man. Those were the good old days. Yeah. What a fun thing. What a treasure. Who else do I remember from that neighborhood? There was also a pro baseball guy that lived at the top of the hill. I think his house was one of the first houses you would go by when you came down our street. It was on the hill. So, yeah, good stuff. Uh, anyway, yeah, a little jaunt down memory lane never hurts, especially when it's fun and good magic. But the point of the thing, that's where I learned that song. They would sing that song at like tribal gatherings and stuff. And when they do like their pseudo powwows, their shamanistic circles, which I honestly thought were pretty gay, and a little too much free love and drugs, but still good fun, still good fun nonetheless. But I was always, even at that age, I was a careful wizard. Like I avoided a lot of things that I didn't think were beneficial to the path of cultivation. And I would always do my hours and hours of kung fu every day and recite my incantations and read my books, and go to school and finish all of that and do college and everything else and work jobs, but always stayed focused. So I think that's why I always embraced this ideal. Oh, and to bring us back to Israel Regardi, um, if anybody's interested, a lot of his, yeah, Gardner was the first. You're right. I just saw that from the private chat. Thank you, Lady Priestess. What was I going to say? Oh, where did I leave off? Oh, Scott Cunningham. Yeah, yeah. He was, yeah, he wrote a lot, but he wasn't, yeah, Gardner was the originator. That's right. Man, he was British, if I recall correctly. And I don't think he was in our neighborhood, but, and much older, maybe 10, 20 years older, a generation before, I believe, too. Um, Oh, I was going to mention Regardi. When I was like 10, 11, 12, my mother was seeing a hypnotherapist, and she was taking me to her hypnotherapist, I guess in part just for fun. But this gal was probably like in her 70s or so, and she was a student of Regardi, and old gal, and she did a bunch of tapes for me. Um, Sessions. I probably ended up doing like 10 sessions with her, but she'd put me into hypnosis and teach me self hypnosis, like how to do it myself, and taught me all of the tools of like the elevator induction, the stairwell induction, and the room of control, and even like, turns out these things were actually the building of the astral temple. And I never knew that she was a student of Regardi's until much later. I looked up her name and her affiliation, and found out that she had studied his system of hypnotherapy. So it was basically path working, magical path working. Mm, Here's the point. I did about 10 sessions with her. For each one, she created an audio tape of the entire session. And then I could re listen to the inductions at night as I was going to sleep. And I carried those tapes around for maybe 5 years. So probably like when I was 15 or 16, I stopped using her tapes. But by that time, I had memorized all of the basic inductions and the process of lying to yourself, as it were, right? Telling yourself things that aren't true, that you want to be true, but to change what is true into something better. So yeah, that was good magic, and it worked for the most part. But yeah, as a foundation, um, and much of that I can still remember to this day. I can still remember her office and a few of the salient details, but we need not get into them here. Just thought that would be a fun. Yeah, so the three Dantians, we'll talk about those a little bit. To start off with, the upper, lower, and center Dantian contain the essences of Jing, Qi, and Shen, or that's the way they're defined by the Chinese system. So the Jing is the most physical of these three energies. So you think from subtle to grosser energies, right? So Shen is the most subtle. Qi is a little more manifest, right? The life breath, the actual moisture and everything that goes along with the life breath, and its penetration into the physical body. And then the Jing is the electromagnetic fluid of the Kundalini, right? And it manifests as the plasma charge throughout the entire body, animating the clay, the clay vehicle, as it were, the vessel. And so from each of these Dantians, as lightning strikes down into the physical being, then you pull that energy at the lower Dantian with the hands, like cupping the hands over the navel, and you're pulling the energy there and then letting it build up until it starts to rumble like an earthquake, and then erupts into a lightning strike up the spine and back up, vaporizing into Qi and then becoming Shen once again in the celestial Dantian at the top. And then the process restarts, the Shen condenses and fires the lightning bolt down, becoming Qi and striking the Malkuth, the base of the spine, and becoming Jing. And it's a closed system. That's why we call it hermetic or sealed. If it escapes from the lower Dantian, escapes from any of the Dantian really, then you lose the electric charge. So you have to, each time you fire it, right, up and down the tree of life, you have to build the circulation of an orbit, right? That's why they say the wizard has the sun and the moon in a box, because you oscillate the positive negative charge of polarity from the top and bottom Dantian, firing along the center Dantian. And as you generate that heart energy, then you store it there as well, store it in the heart center. And what happens when you do this correctly, then firing the lower Dantian and sealing it will create longevity, and then that will start to bubble up and manifest at the heart center as prosperity, and then you seal that and it will erupt into the mind and manifest as fertility or spiritual fecundity, right? Abundance from the upper sphere dropping back down into the prime material plane. So that's the basic process. Again, the three Dantians can be the seat of the Volantia, the Decreeism, and the Possism. And those are the Volantia would be connected with the E, which is like a Jing Qi experience. It's a trinity in itself. And then Decree would be a Qi action. And then Possism would be oscillating of Shen manifesting as Jing. And then that's the process right there. That's the complete method. And as Lao Tzu said, right, don't tell anyone. Lao Tzu said, keep it a secret. Don't expose it so directly, overtly, and make it too easy for everyone. Oh no, I think my earphone's dying, guys. Give me a second. I'll be right back. back. Sorry about that, guys. I got disconnected. Looks like we have a visitor backstage. Greetings and salutations. Cage, let me dial up this music a little bit, guys. Yeah, ease that off. I'll do a little bit of a channel update, and I'll bring you on, amigo. Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, friend and well-wisher. Frank Monday coming at you guys with the 100-day challenge. We have the Psyonic agent. Make sure you hit the like for YouTube's old algobots, and check me out on the coffee page /Frank Monday. And let me shift over here. And let's welcome to the show, Cage. Cage, how's it going, man? You doing all right out there in Happy Land? What's happening?
Hey, brother, same old as always, right? I'm kind of interested in this 100-day challenge, you know what I mean?
Are you? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like, what is it all about? You know, I'm trying to have more information.
Well, each year I do two 100-day challenges beginning at the equinoxes. So this one started with the spring equinox, but you can join anytime, you know, you can participate in any way that you like. And it's based on an old Chinese scroll that I found here in a temple in Beijing, and a Chinese Taoist grandmaster recommended this process to arrive at the fruition of any truth you seek, right? So like a basic spiritual cultivation of awakening the divine light within you, and then learning internal alchemy, you know, meditation, qigong, this kind of thing. 100 days, if you concentrate on it every day at the same time for 100 days, then you're meant to make a serious breakthrough, right?
So that's about like a little over 3 months. So it's like reprogramming of the mind in a way. Okay.
Yeah, for specific purposes, right? Like if you want to develop maybe the spiritual gift of telepathy or prophecy, or some form of weather control magic, or just strengthening your astral temple for communion with the Godhead, or whatever it is you're up to, you know, whatever level of magic you want to engage in. But I make a syllabus for each one, and I call it a different name just for fun, and then focus on various aspects of cultivation, like I said, meditation, self-hypnosis, qigong, internal alchemy, martial arts, different stuff like that, right? So this one, the Psyonic agent, is focused on very simple process of moving from body, mind, and spirit into greater control of one's being, and the ability to astral travel so that you can control NHI UAPs, right? Like non-human intelligent UFOs, right? The
See,
Shin
with
form.
this, sorry for interruption, but yeah, with the Eastern alchemy, you know, kind of, you know, Beijing and all that, like if you're over there in China, or like, you know, like,
Right.
yeah, with this Eastern alchemy, you know what I mean? Like I learned martial arts when I was a young kid, and you know, they never taught me shit for about 9 months, almost like a year, you know, like 9 months like in the womb. And yeah, I had to do conditioning, probably over a year even. And you know, the first thing they taught me was how to fall. You know, like break falls, like rolling and tucking and like falling.
Yeah, that's good. I studied.
Yeah, before so they made me like condition for like probably like 9 months to over a year, and then the
Okay.
first.
They,
And then
they had
they teach you, then they teach you how to fall before you can like go start kicking and fucking punching. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had tumbling class, so we learned to do basic tumbling, like how to roll, how to fall, of course, how to jump, how to get like, you know, monkey level from the ground up. So we did some similar training.
Well, yeah, I guarantee that's within any practice, right? You have to first condition, reprogram, and then from there you got to learn how to fall.
Yeah, it's good magic. Yeah, so this 100-day challenge, the first 10 days, which is already completed, and I'm in the second, what I call week, but they're actually 10 days. So in the first 10 days, I did a series of practices, um, basically 10 minutes a day for the 10 days at every time at the same time in the morning. I would sit in a meditative posture and just focus on controlling the body in perfect stillness for 10 minutes. And I did that for 10 minutes every day for 10 days,
Well,
um,
that's big though,
at
really,
the
because
same
like
time.
10 minutes can feel like an eternity trying to do something like that. And
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're
Don't
if you're, if
scratch
you're
your
cons-
nose.
yeah, if you're
Yeah.
consistently doing that, you got
Don't
something.
wiggle your feet. You're right. But and at the same time every day. So having achieved that, now I'm doing 10 days of the same thing. So I start with the body control, and now I'm doing breath control. So just focusing on the breath for 10 minutes with the body in the correct posture, right? And so you do one thing at a time. So you go from body to breath and then to mind. So once you've got the breathing down for 10 days, in the third 10 day, we'll do the first two, of course, at the same time, right? So you're adding in variables. Your first variable is perfect body stillness. Second variable is rhythmic breathing. And the third variable will be to keep the mind clear, right? Clear enough that you know you're the observer observing thoughts as they come and go.
Exactly
And
right, and that's what it's really about. But also, there's a psychological trick. Like when somebody tells you to avoid something, it's like a child, right? You tell a child not to do something, they're definitely going to go and do it just to figure it out on their own. Right? It's like don't think of the pink elephant. Too late. So
well, yeah, here's the
emptying the
thing.
mind, right?
You
Emptying the
think
mind.
of
If
the
you're
pink
focused,
elephant.
hold on. But if you're focused on emptying the mind, you're never going to empty the mind. you know.
Oh, I disagree. The monkey mind, there's because we discussed various aspects of the mind, right?
Yeah,
There's the
yeah.
conscious
It's
mind, the
interesting.
observer, there's the will, and there's the chattering mind, right? The monkey mind. And like when I never was able to master for very long, like command of the monkey mind when I was younger. But when I hit 40, my mind went completely clear. And like the the mind of a child, like the mind of a
I've been like that
just for
since a
me,
child. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just for a reference, um, for me, it just cleared up completely, and like the monkey mind was no longer even there. And in fact, if I want to create mind and
Oh,
reflection mind and
the monkey in the
echo,
barrel thing. Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Like monkey
Anyway,
in the
just listen.
barrel, like shooting. It's
I'm
like you're fishing in a barrel of filled with
gotcha.
fish.
I'm just sharing the experience. So when I hit 40, it just left. It just disappeared. It was amazing.
That's amazing, bro. I love to hear that. You know what I mean? So what? Something like lifted off of you?
Yeah. So the fourth 10 week, you asked about the 100-day challenge, right? I was just going to tell you a little bit about it. I'll just tell you the first 5, 10 days, right? So we're already up to the fourth. So once you've mastered the body control, breath control, and mind control, then you will create a sigil in the mind. So you've got the body poised,
Oh,
breathing
within the
regular.
mind, like a sigil
Yeah,
within the
yeah,
mind. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'll just finish this just real quick. With the body centered and the rhythmic breathing, right? And then the mind clear, then you project a sigil into the mind in bright, vibrant color, a sigil you've created prior to this, and for a magical effect. And then you focus on it for 10 minutes, right? So that's the fourth week. In the fifth week, you're doing the same practice, right? You're doing everything the same you've done in the first 4 weeks. It's all built up to this, right? The body control, the breath control, the mind cleared, the creation of the sigil. And now for the entire fifth week, you cast it through the magic. You have to know the basic ceremonial operations of casting a circle, creating a triangle of art, and then casting your sigil into the triangle of art to create its manifestation. And then there are 5 more weeks after that. But those are the first 5 weeks of this program, the Psyonic Agent. So it's very simple. Like I was able to describe it to you in just a couple of sentences, and you can practice the first 50 days on your own. I like to begin at the equinox. So this one starts at the equinox.
What about certain folks that have been practicing this kind of stuff since they were born, or like since they're conscious and able to move around?
Yeah, it's good.
You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
this 100 day
yeah,
challenge
don't.
turns into something as a habit, and it turns into
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that
don't.
becomes your lifestyle, right? Yeah.
Right. Don't miss an opportunity to practice again, just like Finn again.
Exactly, right?
every year you go around the wheel, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, and every year you should do your practices. Rotate, sharpen the saw.
Yeah, but it becomes ingrained into you, and this is the main point of this 100-day thing, right? Like it's a reprogram, and it becomes an automatic function within yourself, no matter what, and you practice it every day, no matter what.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
it this one is designed to appeal to beginners, right? I mean, you're probably an advanced practitioner, like you said, you've been practicing these forms of magic and martial arts your whole life, right? But this program that I do is just it's an entry point for people who haven't done that
and
and
it's
haven't.
great, and even these a quote. I wouldn't say I'm an advanced or any of that, but yeah, even for people that may think they're advanced, and that it's always good back to go back to the basics of it, the
Yeah,
foundation. Right, you always have to return to it. So it's a great practice for anybody.
sure.
You know?
And any system of cultivation is fine for people, right? You could do a 100-day challenge for anything that you do, right? Like for example, this one includes, of course, mastering mind is the idea. That's why it's called psionics, right? And so if you
All
know
right,
something
but we
about,
got the silver key. What about the gold key or the other key?
okay, yeah, well, this one's about the silver key, right? And so we've got the meditation, self hypnosis,
It's like AG,
inductions.
right? AG on the chart.
Uh,
AG on the periodic table of elements, right? AG silver.
And another aspect of it is, yeah, so these are the cultivations I wanted to mention. Yeah, there's the golden key, your golden spiritual practices, um, dual or single mystic cultivation. If you've got a partner, you can do dual
Oh,
cultivation.
now we got
If
martial
you don't,
arts. We got dance. We got music. We got calligraphy and sigils. Okay.
yeah, this is just for this program. I mean, you could do any practices you want, though. It's just up to the individual. The method is the same for no matter what you do. Like, imagine you're doing art.
So you're saying
Then
that there's a congruency, right, between all these things and some sort of mechanism behind it, right?
yeah, it's the method, it's the energy. That's what you cultivate is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is that spirit which rides on the face of the deep, right? And makes the agitation, makes the motion, the vibration. So whether you're, strumming a guitar or singing or letting that energy move through you in the form of movement arts, that's the mercurial key, that's
The
the energy,
mercurial
the
key. I love how you said that. So is that like Thoth or Hermes or whatever? The
oh
mercurial
yeah, and it's sure it's the knowledge of
Wednesday.
all of those things,
I
right?
guess like we go from Monday to Wednesday. Now we're going all mercurial with it. But either way,
Yeah, no, we
yeah,
we just go we just
how I learned.
we just go from Wednesday to Wednesday.
Wednesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Wednesday. But either way, yeah, the
Mhm.
mercurial energy. But regardless, yeah, the way I've dealt with it and that patience, I learned about time and that chronos time, the cube. I learned it through growing plants. You know what I mean? Like cultivating plants.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a really wonderful way to experience the seasonal changes and the generative force of nature. And that same generative force is expressed in all things, whether it be a star or a nebula, or your own individual human being or a colony of ants. You can see that same Holy Spirit motivating and moving all things on the waters of the deep abyss, right? You can see the manifestation of the abyss and colorific, polychromatic form being brought up to realization. So yeah, it's good magic. I grew tomatoes for a while, and tomatoes are hard to grow, man. I found that they were difficult. Um, and I met an old man. He's in his 80s, and he grew tomatoes really well. And he had a bunch of tomatoes set up, and he was showing me how to support them and make sure they grew well and stuff like this. And
Oh, well,
I just
you had like the cage around it, like the trellising or whatever they call it, like
yeah,
the
yeah, and
tomato
how to
cage.
space them
Yeah,
correctly and so on and so forth. And
yeah I had an old Italian lady named Rose. We actually used to go and pick tomatoes and then make our own sauces for the whole year. We went to the
very,
field and
yeah,
picked
very
that out.
good.
But yeah, over there, Rose and that, like old ladies, like in the neighborhood. But
Yeah, what kinds of things do you like to grow?
With you know, it's a nightshade, tomatoes, right? So like the leaves are poisonous.
Yeah, and the
You
skin
can't.
of the tomato fruit is poisonous too, right? The Chinese will remove it before they cook the tomato. I guess many people do,
Yeah,
but
you
yeah, the
can't.
leaves and
Yeah, the
it's a
skin.
deadly nightshade. So it's exile or hemlock, O Socrates. Which shall it be?
And we can even go back and push it to Paracelsus. The godfather of toxicology, Paracelsus.
Hmm.
You're the worst of Paracelsus, I know. And
Okay, so one of the other things I like to add to the program is to have affirmations. Like each day, you're familiar with Marcus Aurelius, and each day he say, "Wake up, breathe, think, feel, and cherish what a valuable opportunity is to live again each day." Right.
bro,
So I like to say,
I can tell that you and I right now having this conversation, we've been giving ample opportunities and so many blessings in that we can focus on, right? But
yeah,
we've also had like shit that life throws at people. You don't gotta focus on
sure,
that,
sure.
you know.
Yeah, I gotta, yeah, yeah.
you know,
Burn that.
we
That's the
deal with it either
dross.
way. Yeah,
Yeah, those are the sheaves. That's the dross. You got to separate the wheat from the chaff.
the reef
So
of
this is a good one.
yeah, yeah.
And the next one is about gratitude. So what kind of things are you grateful for right now in your life? Cage.
Well, I got an internet connection. I apparently have electricity. I got a roof over my head. I got food I eat maybe one time a day. I got my family being taken care of. I'm grateful
That's
for
good.
myself because I'm gonna fucking deal with it.
Yeah. You got some good books on the shelves.
Yeah, we got great books on the shelf here. Like, look, we got The Intelligent Investor. We got Amerta. We got a bunch of stuff there. Um,
Nice. Yeah, I'm grateful for many things too. The able to manifest into reality each day, and play the game of life, enjoy the family, the dwelling, the career, move
we all
about the
look,
world.
look. It's the most beautiful thing ever. You have a mind of your own. And you're able to actually create something, and have an opportunity to actually think and say something and do something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And the next one on the list is about achieving great things. According to Eliphas Levi, the great work is before all things creation of man by himself. And
Eliphas the Levi, right? He's the one who created that
yeah,
Baphomet picture.
that's around. Yeah, Freemason, transcendental
Yeah.
magic, good
No,
stuff.
trust me, buddy. We could talk all day about this stuff. Like I've done my research, right? We can talk about Eliphas the
Uh,
Levi. Yeah.
so the great work they define as internal alchemy and arriving at the philosopher's stone, right? The coalescence of the elixir of life, the immortal method. Um, that's one thing I'd
The
like to
anima. I
achieve.
think they call it the anima mundi.
Yeah, one of the things I've been working on a lot is getting in and out of Dreamland with better recall. So bringing back dreaming images into the waking world that makes sense, not just lucid dreaming, but lucid dreaming with real work, where I can bring back data and write it down in my journals. So that's a part of my path. I don't share it online, of course, because some prophecies come true and some methods are not meant for the masses. Obviously, they say don't cast your pearls before the swine, as it were, right? Yeah. So your
Like in the
magnum opus.
Kybalion, right? Don't cast pearls for swine.
Yeah. What challenges are you facing? Any challenges right now that like
Buddy,
and opportunities to grow?
I see challenges as an opportunity for growth. Exactly. I see challenges as a conduit for growth. So I've been facing it my whole life. I had to be a man since 8 years old. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, I've been out here. I'm saying like I never had the opportunity to fuck around or like be a child.
Right. Yeah, I went out on my own at like a very young age as well, just to test the waters. But I did stay with my family until the bitter end, right? To an extent,
No, but I'm still the only reason why I haven't fucked off is because of my family's over here. You know what I mean? I'm always here.
Yeah, it's good. It's good
on
to hear.
purpose. Yeah, I'm sticking here because of the family.
Yeah, family's important. And there are daily challenges too, every day, man. People have to make the choice to choose laxitude and laying under the covers or going out into the world and making one's way. And if you're the main provider for a family, right,
You can do
you
both,
have
though.
you
Yeah.
have yeah, you have no choice. You always have to go out into the
No,
world.
you have a
Um,
choice either way. But I could be an asshole and fuck off. But I could have
yeah,
fucked
that's
off when
right.
I was like 15 years old. You know.
Well, if you're
Instead,
if
I
you're
I
honor bound,
chose I chose to be honorable.
yeah, if you're honor bound to making yourself pristine being of the multiverse, taking action, that's the next step. Like that's where for me, like in the morning, the basic process is always the same. You come out of Dreamland, you sit in a meditative posture, absorbing the energy of all the images from the beyond the veil, from sleep, and then you start to do your qigong and your morning ritual, your practice, your kung fu, pounding the body, washing the face, getting ready for the day, and then after a little bit of activity, then you sit down in um, specific cultivating meditation, practicing some internal alchemy for a while, and then I'll go out and go to work. And each day, and I'm
Yeah.
working 50 hours a week, and that's my Monday through Friday. And when I have a chance, I like to live stream here on YouTube and say hello to everyone.
I'm working every. I'm even working when I'm fucking sleeping. You know what I mean? I'm working
Yeah,
24 hours, 7 days a week.
right. The mind is always active. Even when you're asleep, it's doing shit that you don't know unless you cultivate to know.
Yeah,
Most people
exactly. I'm
sleep
working.
away.
So I'm actually like kind of excited to go to sleep sometimes because I have a whole different world over there.
Oh. I watched some good YouTube with Jim Carrey recently, and his fun career, and he
Mr.
says in the
Mr. Carey, Mr. Carey is actually from the city over here, from where I'm at.
okay, yeah, and you probably know something about his story, but he was all self-generated his whole life, and imagine how much money he generated like in the course of doing that type
Well,
of activity.
Jim. Like it's funny. Like he trolled people, right? Like he's like, I wrote something down
Yeah,
and put it in my wallet. He wrote himself a check and put it in his wallet, his
yeah,
wallet, and
I
they had
remember
to
that one.
conform to that. Remember, he pulled it out and showed them, and then like he put the all-seeing tongue.
Yeah, yeah. I do that all the time too. Like I take a dollar bill, like a local currency, and then I'll pin in really nice a bunch of zeros behind it and make it like
Yeah.
10,000 or 10 million, and then put it up on the bookshelf and just leave it there as a magical talisman. And it does, it works. Like when you achieve
And
that
look,
level of money, then
the magic of nature is it's a slow
yeah,
game, right? It's not
yeah,
instant.
yeah.
It's
Nature's so
to go.
abundant.
It's that for over time. Right?
Yeah, money magic's you gotta figure out the money magic first, right? Because if you're always at a point of being too poor to help yourself or others, then that's not a good way to live, right? Like you want to get that
No,
system figured
you
out
have to
early
take
on.
someone. You have to take someone in order to help other people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, of course, yeah. Like,
Like, how the fuck
um,
are you gonna be able to do anything if you don't help yourself? Right? So
yeah, yeah,
it's
like
an all-you-can-eat buffet, and like
indeed,
some
indeed.
astral shit. And like what? You're like, I'm not hungry. I'm not gonna eat. No, you're gonna take whatever you need and you're gonna help people. It doesn't mean you gotta be greedy. It doesn't mean you gotta butt in line or whatever.
No,
If someone's
the
trying to
most
eat,
the most successful men I've ever met in the world have always been extremely generous with others and strict with themselves. But I've noticed like the spirit of generosity is what creates great wealth. If you're very like stingy and you don't share and bring
no,
up other
like
people,
I'm somebody that doesn't. I think my issue is Frank. I don't know how to help this as a young man, and that right. I'm not really that young. Like, I'm in my early 30s,
I gotcha. Yeah,
30s or
with
whatever.
that spirit,
But I'm not
man.
even
Well,
33 yet, right? But what I'm
well,
saying is like my issue. Hold on, I'm
go
almost
ahead,
done.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm saying is
Go
my
ahead.
issue is that I want to give, but I can't accept anything from anybody. I don't want anybody's shit. I don't want anybody's anything. I like to do my own thing, and if people ask me, then I'll provide. But either
Okay, I
way,
got you. No,
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I, I
I'm
like
not try to take in anybody else's. Like I don't accept anything
I like to make
from
myself
anybody.
the low ground
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
accept all comers. You know, like you should be willing to always lower yourself to take the humility and gift of the heart of others. Because sometimes people want to
So
give
is
a little
is that
something.
wrong though? Is that wrong that I deny people from giving me anything? Like I'll just return it to sender. Or like what's
No,
going
it's
on?
fine. Do everybody shall do whatever they want, right? Do what thou
Mm-hmm.
wilt shall be the whole of the law. So absolutely, and then nobody
Oh,
can
now we're getting
begrudge
into
anyone else.
Now we're getting some Crowley shit. Okay.
Yeah, you can't begrudge another for anything they would do, right?
So you
Just
just
love
like
them.
threw out. All right, but that quote was like some Thelemic stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Thelemite myself, but I do realize there were certain things that the master Therion quaffed that are were universal truths, and I would say 90% of what he got wasn't even
Well,
his original.
I'm
Yeah,
saying, like, am
wasn't
I
his
an
OG
asshole?
writing.
Am I an asshole for denying people shit? Like, I have to make sure I give them something properly before
You
I
don't,
even.
yeah, you don't take any donos.
Yeah.
And it depends on what you think of giving people. Like I've given a work of 1,600 videos here on YouTube, and I think that merits allowing people the opportunity to show gratitude if they want. That's no small thing. You know, it's something. I've gotten. I don't even know now. I
I was
wrote to
saying,
this
is
dude,
there an
but
issue? My question is this: should I accept more from people, or just keep doing what I'm doing?
oh shit, man! If you're a wizard of your worth your weight, you know what the fuck you should do.
Yeah,
Never ask
exactly,
never
exactly.
ask another wizard what you should do, right?
It's a fucking
Um,
rhetorical question either way.
yeah, I got you. I got you. Just remember that goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. Hermetic Brotherhood Luxor. That was Pascal Beverly Randolph. He was a Negro in the time of like Eliphas Levi and who else was around at that time? All those guys, that same era, and he brought forward William Wayne Westcott, Arthur Edward White. All these dudes were hanging out, and he brought forward a document on sex magic that I think was the very first of its kind. And I would have to say that all of Crowley's magic was based on old Randolph, right?
Oh,
The time traveler.
what he did was like he went to the east, went to the pyramids, all that. Like I have friends that went to the what is it called, the Abeliscan House or whatever in Scotland,
Oh,
right by Loch Ness and all that. But either way,
yeah, it's good magic. It's good magic. It's
buddy,
it's it's watered down from the Taoist tradition, though. It's all downwater of the tradition, right? Like
when
if you
it's
look
kind of
at
like
the
Blavatsky. Like hold on, it's kind of like Helena Blavatsky, right? With the so what they do is they go to the east. Even the Masons, they talk about going to the east, right? Back to like the Vedic principles, but it's a distortion of it and like their own program. But like you said, there's a mechanic behind it all, right? A structure, an algorithm, which you can
yeah,
you can use that power for whatever. it's,
right. That's the
it's
thing.
on you.
Use it for good. Use it to improve yourself and your community and the world. Yeah, I wouldn't say take on the challenge of the world. That's a little big for anyone, right? Unless you're in a really powerful mastermind group of magicians that have all
Oh
cultivated
yeah,
for many lifetimes. You
you
know,
should see over here.
that's good. That's good magic. But if you're a solo practitioner, then just take on your day to day. That's all you can do.
Are you really solo? You're never really alone.
No, no, absolutely not. That's true enough.
Yeah. You're never
Right.
really
No,
alone.
that's
Yeah.
that's good magic. Let's see what else we've got here. Yeah, so a little Crowley here. That no new horror is more tolerable than the daily torture of the commonplace. So one of the things I like to ask and talk about on the channel here, if you're here for a minute, are paranormal encounters. So these happen, and I was expressing today, in the earlier video, that I think in part they're like cliphotic experiences within the astral, and because I've had quite a few, and you have to ask yourself, what is the
Kelpothic,
essential?
was that like a nod and a little hat, a little nod to the Kabbalistic tree of life?
Right. So you see these shadow images that appear with light, though, sometimes, like, say, ghosts or distortions in time, and even maybe genuine, like, luminous beings appearing in your environment, whether it be while dreaming or awake. And so you got to wonder, how do you get in contact with the cultivation of those things? And I'm always curious, like, have you heard any paranormal encounters recently, or had any of your own, or most?
I've seen things that I couldn't even explain to you.
Yeah.
Long
What
time
about
ago,
other
before the
other
internet.
other people? Has it other
Yeah,
people
no, no,
told you
yeah,
some,
we
or?
we have witnesses. We're all there.
Yeah,
My
sure.
brother and a friend. Yeah,
Yeah. So maybe can you talk a little bit about it?
yeah, we've seen stuff appear, and they gave us like a little show. You know, again, like I feel like an idiot even trying to explain it because you had to be there.
Yeah, fair enough. That's part of a mystic experience, is that it's kind of beyond description, and so it might be hard to articulate or put into words. Like I said, you have to be there in order to encounter it. Um, Recently, let's see, the last couple of weeks have been right at around the time of the Day of the Dead here in China, and I was having a dream and engaged in dreaming. I think it was last week before the Day of the Dead, and I was out on like a vast.
Isn't it the day in the dead in South America today? Like Cinco de
Is it?
Mayo or
Yeah.
whatever.
So I was here in China, and I was out on like a plane, like a
I
grass
think
swept
it's
plane,
probably like a month. I
like
think
a
it's a
wind.
month away. It's a month away until we get the Halloween thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I transitioned into this plane in Dreamland, and I was out on like a windswept grass plain, and there were hills there, and there were. I realized I was in the midst of a vast cemetery, and on the edge of the cemetery were hospital buildings with like elderly people, like 80s, 90s, 100, on gurneys, and they were waiting to pass into the realm of the dead. Like I said, it was like a windswept plane that was like it had headstones on it. It was a cemetery, and I saw both, and I went into the hospital room, and all of the dead were there, and some were dead, some were still living, and my wife's father, he died about 5 years ago, I guess now. Yeah, he died in 2020, and he was there, and he was walking, and he was wearing like a dark suit, and he looked like a corpse, like a dead man walking. And I said, "What's going on here? What's going on?" And he's like, "Half of these people are dead, and half are about to die." And I said, "What about the ones that haven't died yet?" He said, "They will die soon," and they were being pushed into the land of the dead. And I was watching, and I talked to many of these dying people, and they told me their story. And I realized I was in the midst of the Day of the Dead, and then I heard bells out in the cemetery, and there were figures, dark figures, in like the English medicine man, like the beak costume, like a dark robe with a beak costume, and they were walking through the cemetery, ringing like a bell. They had a bell in one hand, and they were ringing the death bell and commanding people to their graves. And there were spirits rising up out of this place of death. And when I finished talking to someone and walked away, their spirit would eke out of their body like uh, ghostly energy, and then transition into that grassland, and then down into a grave. And the bell ringer, the dead ringer of the bell of the death, right, the necromantic doctor, would walk over and seal the grave. He would like point down at it, and it would seal up around them. And
I got
then from that,
ashes in a box, right? And the name
do
on
you?
the box is called Bell. It was a
Okay.
dog. It was a dog, and the
That was
family.
crazy.
Yeah, the family. Like I never went and got a pet. I don't believe in that shit. Oh yeah, they begged us to take this dog, and we facilitated it. And you know what they did? They charged us
No, tell me.
thousands of dollars to try and keep the dog alive, just to inject it and kill it. And
Okay.
many people wanted to just destroy their entire. They're out of business now. But either way, Why? And they won't even give you back the body in there.
We put a couple in the ground during COVID, and then I lost quite a few in America. But here, the crematorium, we went in. My wife's mother, my wife's grandmother, sorry, at the crematorium. She was 93. Pretty good span, for an
But
individual.
you know, the dog did. I woke up and the dog was staring at me, and it
Well,
was like
we
fucking,
burnt
and it was
when we
like
burnt.
wobbling, right? It was wobbling, and I
Let
knew
me finish
I
this
knew
real.
the dog was gonna die. It told me earlier too, it was gonna die soon.
Okay.
I was like,
Well, this isn't a dog. This is a human, and we watched it be burnt in the crematorium, and then they opened the crematorium bed, and we were able to
no,
look
no.
at the ashes in its perfect condition
Well,
still.
I have
So
more. You know,
it
dog is
went.
kind of funny. Like you spell it backwards. Spell dog backwards.
Yeah. So the dog.
So
And
I'm saying either way, like I have more. I don't give a.
the only thing,
Human beings deserve when they get an innocent animal. They
yeah. Real quick though, the only thing that didn't burn in the cremation was the skull cap. Like all of the other bones and everything had been turned to perfect white ash, and it was only the skull cap that remained. Yeah, so I wanted to finish that real quick.
no, I hear you. Only the skull cap remained. But yeah, what I was saying is, I have more sympathy for an animal than I do for a human being.
Oh Jesus, man, that's rough. Okay. Um. So anyway, your dog died. Yeah. Did you burn your dog, or was it buried in the
It
dirt?
wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. It got cremated apparently. It's in a box with the name Bell on it.
Yeah. It's like finding a dead rat in the corner of the fucking room. Old
Hey,
building and
well,
an
not
abandoned
really.
house.
Like I was one time where I was living at. You know, it's funny you brought up a rat. One time where I was living at, right? So where you go, I was with my ex-girlfriend and that. You know what I mean? We're going through the basement, and then you have to use a key and open up two doors to get through that. And where that area was, some people got locked out, had to climb up and go through and unlock it one time. But either way, one time we went through there and we seen like a rat. I think it got poisoned or whatever. It was a huge fucking rat. And of course, the ex, the girl was like, "We gotta take care of the rat." So we went and put it into a box and brought it to the Humane Society.
Yeah, a rat will steal your cheese, man. You gotta watch out.
No, so we brought it to the Humane Society and all that. And then all of a sudden, they're sending me mail.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, trying to donate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, they just want to extract the money off.
For killing wildlife. If you're in California,
we didn't kill, bro. We're walking through like I said, in the basement. There's like a little foyer, whatever you want to call it. You have to unlock it again. And there was like a giant rat on the ground, like breathing weird. We picked it up, put it into a box, and brought it to the Humane Society. But then after, they're trying to mail me and say like, "Oh,
yeah, they can make you the rat catcher, right?"
They're like, "Oh, if you care that much, right? Like, give us money." Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to help take care of the rat, nurse it back to health since you saved it, right? That's kind of a big deal. You take a rat to the Humane Society, they got to nurse that thing back to health, put it back into the wild, stick it in somebody's kitchen.
Hopefully they kept it alive. It didn't inject it and kill it. Who knows? Because a lot of the time, like the Humane Society, it sounds really nice, right? But yeah, they probably fed it to something. But either way, yeah, it sounds really nice. But like, for example, a stray cat or dog, within 3 days, if they don't get adopted, they get killed.
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Do they at least use the meat and like feed it to the hawks or the parrots that live there?
Fucking hopefully. I don't know. Fuck.
Because I would imagine if you got meat constantly coming in and you have to support a certain amount of animals that eat meat, then you could just sacrifice the animals and then feed them to the other animals in order to balance out the ecology.
Like, instead of being nice because the girlfriend was there and wanted to rescue a rat, like I could have just stomped on his head.
Like, yeah, I'd have an
like
area
that
to hold
that probably would have
vultures.
probably put out of his misery if they're gonna use
Yeah,
paralytics and fucking inject
I'd
it.
keep an area of birds, and then set the stray cats and animals in with the more vicious predators, and feed those and keep those healthy. I don't know. It depends. You got to balance it somehow, right? If you're going to kill it after 3 days anyway, you might as well use it as
So I'm saying
fodder
like put it. I'm saying
for
like a
your
stomp on
hogs.
the head probably would have been better, right? Instead of getting ripped apart by hawks and shit.
No, I think that's a little vicious and cruel and unusual punishment. There's hunting
How?
and then
That's called
there's
being
killing,
if it's
right?
gonna die either. Well, I gave it a chance, but if it's gonna die either way, might as well just stomp on his head like quick time. It won't even know what hit it.
No, you got to be ritualistic. A dagger through the heart and skin it, flay out all the meat and feed it to your
None of
raiders.
that, you just put it out of his
Yeah,
shit and just move
that's
him up.
why that's why the ancient masters would always carry a good dagger, right? You got to have a good cutting knife to end things quickly. Also, because if you do it in a brutal fashion like that, it will cause the reaction of the brain to send all of the toxins into the bloodstream, right? That's why you want to stop the pumping action of the heart at once.
Oh, so we're gonna go kosher with it. Halal.
Yeah, dagger through the heart. That way, all the blood flows
Halal. We
immediate.
gotta slit his throat and put it upside down.
No,
Okay.
that's terrible. Yeah, drain the
That's
blood
halal.
afterwards.
That's kosher. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's to just drain the blood. That's not to kill it. You gotta get that heart muscle with a single stroke, like killing a vampire, right? A stake through the heart.
What about a silver bullet? I think that's for
Yeah,
werewolves or something.
that's for
Okay.
werewolves. That's right. Would you attune more with a werewolf or a vampire?
I'm not playing with the fucking lunar cycle.
Would you be a skinwalker or a
A daywalker.
Nosferatu? A daywalker.
None of that. None of that. Like per se for me, like I don't play with the luminaries like that.
Nosferatu, creature of the night. Yeah, there's blood guzzlers out there, man. You got to be careful. Their fangs come out at night. They'll hunt you down under the full moon.
I was called a viper, Frank, the other day. I'm like a viper. That's actually a compliment because there's a certain type of viper. They have the longest fangs, and they have like one of the fastest strikes in the animal kingdom. So why not?
The pit viper, right?
No, there's a certain type. I think it starts with a B.
Okay, I'm not familiar. I'm not as much of a naturalist as I should be. There's a lot of creatures out there. I found a albino rosy boa one time in the hills by my house, and it ran like right out in front of me. I totally remember I was headed to kung fu practice at the kung fu school, and this it looked like a little worm, like a rosy, like kind of rainbow colored worm.
Did have like rose glasses on too? Okay.
Yeah, they have a stubby little tail, and I was like, motherfucker, like it rattled out like right in front of me. At first, I thought it was a rattlesnake, and so I jumped and I saw what it was, so I grabbed it, and I went immediately back right home and put it in like an empty fish tank I had, and then I went to kung fu practice. Then I came back and I kept that motherfucker for about 3 months, like feeding him.
That's very interesting. And you know what's funny about that?
Feeding him live fish and baby rats.
You know what's faster? You know what's faster than a cobra or a serpent? Somehow.
A falcon.
A cat.
Yeah, cats will fucking.
A cat has like some crazy fucking reaction time and shit.
Weasels. All those kinds of little mammalian creatures. They strike fast, man. They can defeat snakes. Snakes ain't shit. They're fun though. They're cool to keep. They're very interesting.
My brother, I don't know why my brother like loved having like animals, right? And like, yeah, you got a ferret at one point.
I keep a fish now. Yeah, ferrets are cool. That's good.
Yeah,
fun.
the ferret. It was a white ferret named Ace.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah, we call him Ace, and the ferret. You know what he used to do?
No, tell me.
You let him out the cage, and it just like bite your toes and your sock. It would never let go. And then like I remember it running around like drinking shit. The man's like, let me out that fucking thing. it was a good fare. Like, and then when it sleeps, you know the Ferris sleep. They call
Wait,
it.
they'll eat a chicken. Go ahead.
You know when the Ferris sleeps, like you can move it around and shit. Like, will not wake up.
Is that right? Wow, what fun.
Yeah, the Ferris seems like it's dead. I think they call it like I don't know. There's a term for it, but yeah, that little fucker.
Yeah,
Like,
when your friend gets too drunk at the sleepover, then you could do the same thing, right? They fall asleep, and you draw shit on them, shave their fucking leg, um,
you want to hear a funny story about that?
shave one eyebrow.
You want to hear something funny about that, Frank? If you
Yeah,
like.
go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
What was
So
that?
one time I was in high school, right back in the day, and there's this lady there that thinks she's a man, and she's like, I'm like, they're asking like, oh, how much you gonna charge me for the weed or whatever? Remember, I'm a child. I'm in high school, or whatever. I'm like, do you guys have a scale? They're like, yeah, we have a scale in the car. Get in the car. I'm like, okay, whatever it weighs out to, we can both be happy type thing. So I'm trying to get into the car, and when I'm halfway in the car, they scur off. You know what I mean? Like they rob me, and they're just like, I'm halfway in the car trying to do like a proper thing, and they scur off. And then many years later, funny enough, you see it kind of like the fair thing. You see the exact same person sleeping on the couch, and no one could wake her up. They're literally like shaving off her eyebrows, throwing her phone away, yada yada yada, or him or whatever the fuck it is. And,
Yeah, that's good fun. She deserves it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Then I seen the same fucking little being like a year later, and the eyebrows still never grew back. Am I wrong for that? It's like, okay, we'll catch you later on, right? And then we see her sleep, and everyone's trying to wake her up, and like, yada yada. They're slapping her across the face, like she's not waking up. We might as well shave her eyebrows off then. You try to rob me?
Yeah, that's good fun. Yeah, she earned that, right? Yeah, that happens. I remember weed deals gone wrong when I was a kid. And someone's out there, they got a bag, or they sell you a bag of fucking parsley or something, or they try to cheat you. They're like, hey, yeah, dude's got a bag. We'll go down $20 or whatever. And you make the handoff, and it's got like a nickel's worth of fucking grass in there, and the rest is something else, some herb they packed in there to make it look like it was a bag of weed, or nothing at all. Fuck, a rock. Sometimes they put rocks in the bag to up the weight.
Tenfold or
Because
something. Okay.
yeah, you whip out your postage scales and you're like, hey, is this a quarter ounce? And you weigh it up and you're like, yeah, and then it's got little stones in the bag with it. So yeah, it can be sketchy sometimes. Sometimes someone will snag your shit.
Nah, but like we could have done like like I never let anyone violate her that badly, right? And, like but we did shave her eyebrows off.
Okay. Yeah, I got ganked.
I never did it. But like I let people know, like, yeah, this bitch is sleeping and she won't wake up. So,
like you'd be down at the park smoking a spliff, and then the PD would sneak up on you, and they'd come and shake you down. Like they wouldn't bust you or nothing, but they would take your shit, And then one time, I totally remember this, man. We were at a park, and we had a really cool pipe. It was a proto pipe. It's like a little brass pipe, and it has a little storage shell on it. You probably know what they are. And it's got it's all made out of copper, I think, or brass or something. It's got like a brass lid on it, and the whole thing's a really nice little unit. And we were taking a couple tokes, and we got caught in the PD, and they took the proto pipe, and they took like a quarter ounce of weed or something. And then we saw them like an hour later at a different park, sitting out there right next to their patrol car, smoking our weed, man.
bro, the cops robbed. I got robbed by the cops. One time the cops pulled up, and literally I only had where's the rest of it? I'm like, that's all it is. They don't tell me how to do my job. And they took my shit and put it into their pocket and went to smoke that shit after.
Yeah, we saw them though. We were like cruising around still, and it was a park like not far away from the park where they ganked us. And they had their patrol car parked, and they were like sitting out on the park benches or whatever. And just fucking sitting there smoking our weed, man. It was craziest fucking thing. It seems like we went up and said something to them too, like "Give us our weed back," or "What's up? How you hanging out here smoking the weed you took from us?" And yeah, they
Yeah.
laughed at us or something. They're like, "Lucky we didn't throw you in jail. Get the fuck out of here." It's so funny, man. So funny.
Don't tell me how to do my
Yeah, so
job. Do you want to eat the cement? That shit was hilarious. Like
that's
one
right. That's
time,
gangster.
one time I was with 81 in that, and we went behind our old, the school we went to. I'm like, it's probably a bad idea. Man said, "Yeah, no, go, go, go." And yeah, we went behind there. All of a sudden, the cops rolled up on us. They're like, start searching us and doing all that. They're like, "Where is it? We know it's here." Like literally, 81
Yeah,
had it on them.
they'll do that. That's their job.
They never found it though. And I'm like,
They think it's.
you
They think
you
it's
know,
their
buddy,
job anyway.
buddy's like, he's like, "What's all this in the trunk?" I'm like, it's a bunch of stuff. It's like extension cables, like jumper cables,
Yeah,
a bunch of stuff like cleaning products, all this stuff. I'm like, it's just a bunch of stuff. Like, I threw it into a box. Like, don't tell me how to do my job. I'm like, well, you're not gonna look underneath the, by the spare tire. They never even lifted up the fucking floor to look at the spare tire. Or I could have had anything in there. Yeah, that's how retarded
sure.
they are.
Yeah, they're just lazy. They're just looking for some low hanging fruit, right?
It's like,
To
don't tell me
grab
how
real
to do
quick.
my job. I'm like, all right.
That's right. You shouldn't tell them how to do their job, right? They know what they're doing. What do they call it? Court sanctioned auto theft, right? If they catch you, if they caught you cruising around and you have a little drink, a little drive, they could, steal your car. Kind of a
Bro,
big
they
deal.
caught us smoking a fucking blunt in the car, and then they didn't care. They watched us drive away after.
Okay. Yeah, you got to be careful with those guys, man. You never know what they're up to. They got shit
Yeah, they're
there.
up
They
to
got
some
an
bullshit,
agenda.
guaranteed. Yeah, they've been watching.
All right, we're at the middle of the hour, guys. I want to remind real quick everybody to check out the Frank Monday channel. Tune in to FM Radio. Join the 100-day challenge, Way of the Psyonics. Make sure you guys hit the like buttons for the Algabots, and check me out at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. And back to our regular programming. Yeah. So what else has been going on? What do you care to talk about the part of the world that you're in? I believe you're in the U.S. of A., right? You sound like an American. Gage, are you in the old Grand Old Opry, the U.S. of A., flying that old glory? Yes, no, maybe so. Sounds like I lost Cage, guys. That's all right. Okay then. I will. I'll leave it there then, guys. As we roll into the abodes of the future, keep doing good magic. I had a nice little transmission. I'll try to recount some of the things we did today, leading up the self hypnosis and the inductions. Okay, we might have our friend back. Is that you, Cage? You still there? Sounds like you lost your mic. No, you're muted right now. Let me see. Unmute.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm in Toronto, in Canada.
Okay, good. Good magic. Yeah, I can hear you. So, Frater Sal Smith, man, he made a huge donation to the channel recently. So that bought us some extra time here online, and it motivated to get some work done. So that's good magic.
Frater who? Frater who?
I had his name up there a second ago. Doesn't matter. Let's give a little shout out to him. Make sure
Yeah,
he's doing all right.
shout out to the guy.
I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. He's been he disappeared. But yeah, so I lost you there for a second. Welcome back.
No. Yeah, I'm here. Welcome back. Thank you. And yeah, I'm from Toronto in Canada, right? Like I'm not American. Well, I'm North American, I guess. So.
Okay, wow, that's interesting because I didn't hear too much of your Canadian accent. We may have talked about this in the past. Yeah, boot. Sorry.
A boot.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. But yeah, no, you don't have an overtly Canadian. You have more of an influence from some sort of Latin languages in your accent than you do any kind of Canadian accent.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm from Toronto. It's a bit different over here. It's like the most multi. We actually have the biggest highway in pretty much the world over here, the 401, and in
Okay.
America or North America. And yeah, over
Have,
here,
have you
it's
seen
one
any Sasquatch
small,
running through the
small.
city? Because there's a lot
We
of
have, we have them tied up in the background with zip ties.
you guys got a lot of Bigfoot up that way,
Yeah,
Bigfoot
yeah.
and
No, we have
UFOs.
sand strands like tied up, zip tied in the background.
Okay, and little gray aliens as well.
All types of shit over here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, good magic. Are there any open bodies of water near where you live? River, lakes, that kind of thing?
Oh yes, sir. We have the Great Lakes over here.
Okay. But
You know,
like
by
you
like
personally, like
Michigan.
where your dwelling is, like if you go out your front
Yeah,
door, like
we got Lake
how
Ontario
far?
right by that.
Okay. What about a running water source near you, like a stream out in the
Yeah,
woods?
that's like that's my place that I go to.
Mm,
Yeah,
very good. It's
It's
it,
in
it's
Grand
good to have
Rapids.
it's good to have running water, like some sort of water feature near where you live.
Yeah, I know.
Like
If you go look into the work of D. Unfortunate, and that apparently in order to get rid of it, you have to cross like running water.
yeah, you got to be around running water sources if you can. That can aid the spirit a lot and bring forth many muses.
Have you ever looked into the works of D. Unfortunate, like psychic self defense and different books she created or they
No,
created?
not I haven't. No, not much. But you could tell me about it. What she got going on?
Oh, it's very interesting. The unfortunate she's back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. She has like teachings on the Kabbalah, psychic self defense, like magic, all that kind of stuff. And she's real. You know about the Golden Dawn, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I've been initiated into the Golden Dawn and the OTO and the OTA as well, and a couple of others. I enjoy that kind of thing. I like meeting with magical communities and doing ritual and like formal ceremonies. I think it's worthwhile. I think it's worthwhile to be a member of one too. Like if you pay regular dues to one and are able to practice and do temple work and stuff like that. I think it's good fun, man. It's good fun. It's like anything else, whether you have a philosophical club or a book club or you go to martial arts or dance or whatever. It's all a good form of fellowship with like-minded people. I think that's
It
important.
is, as long as you have boundaries and don't involve other people into your shit, right?
Yeah, I had some good clubs before COVID, but when the COVID lockdowns hit, like it snuffed everything out for a while. And I've just been too lazy to go back out there and do it again. Like it requires effort. You got to find a location. You got to schedule meetups. You have to formulate a
You know what the
following.
best
You
club
know,
is, right? It's all about the inner work and doing the inner path and all that. So I think the best club is like you, yourself, and I, or me, myself, and I, whatever.
yeah, that's one aspect. The social aspect is a lot of fun though. Like I love having dance class and doing martial arts and stuff with groups of people.
I was
Like
never
it's
there
good
for the
fun.
social aspect of it, right?
Yeah, like
Personally, like
yeah.
I want, if I want to go and learn something, like I don't need to be like linked up and be a part of a club.
No, my classes are always very casual. Like I teach a beginners class. I taught a beginners class for like 6 years, and if people wanted to, study at the intermediate level, I welcomed it. But that's a lot. Like higher levels of dance are much more difficult. So like
You,
every year being a beginner.
at that point, it's out of your fucking scale of helping, right?
Yes,
When they get
it's
to that, and isn't that the whole point to get that person or whatever to that level
yeah.
where
For
they
me,
don't need you, right? They don't need you at
I
all.
got yeah,
So,
exactly. I got up to that level. I got up to performance level with my teacher, and then teaching like beginner class and intermediate class. That's more fun because like it's not as stressful. You don't have to get as high of a level. You don't have to train as hard. And do it once a week. You can dance with 10 girls every week, once a week every time. It's good fun. Good fun. And getting dudes that enjoy it too. Together, everybody together to fellowship. The kung fu classes I would do for young Chinese guys like in their 20s, like college level. And so I taught a college level kung fu class. They always think it's weird though, like we're learning Chinese kung fu from a white guy. Like that just seems like a strange anachronism to them here in China. So yeah, a little weird. But I did it for a while.
Like I never learned any Chinese stuff, but I learned Korean martial arts.
Yeah, and you
And,
mentioned Japanese as
and
well, or just Korean?
no, Korean Hapkido, not Aikido,
Okay,
Hapkido. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it's good
And
fun. Good fun.
the guy who
Good
taught
fun.
me he wasn't Japanese or fucking Korean either.
Yeah. Yeah, the self-discipline, the control of body and mind, it's important. It's important. I don't recommend getting in fights with people, that's not a good thing. But training yourself to be fight ready is important, I think. As a man, you don't want to be a weak man that, some dude challenges you in public or something, you can't even defend your wife and kids. That's not good.
Yeah, I never have an issue in like real reality. When I walk, like people open the door, I open the door for them. It's all respectful. I never have an issue with people in actual reality. It's like on the
Yeah, the more
internet. On the internet,
the
then
more
people just think they have like a safety net.
yeah, internet folks, they know that you can't challenge them directly physically, or at least they believe that and they work under that assumption. But what they don't know is that by their behavior, there are, dynamics, unseen dynamics that will work against them if they're just being a shitbird, being a troll, or an asshole, or, an idiot, or just being fucking generally a piece of shit, then those energies will surround and consume them anyway. So you don't have to get into a physical confrontation with them. But yeah, they like to do it. They love to talk shit and sling mud and be all kinds of crazy on the internet. The thing I've noticed the most though is not so much like aggro aggression, but a general sense of like cynicism and apathy. That's what I feel
Yeah,
coming
it's
from people the
like
most.
kind of nihilistic, right?
Yes, it seems like nihilism is very popular these days among people. Yeah, there are a lot of nihilistic people, and yeah, it's not good. I don't think so. Good, bad. Who could say? Who the fuck am I to judge? Do whatever you want to do. But I personally I don't resonate with it. I like to choose those
I,
things which.
I don't either. And then when you start involving other people, I'm gonna speak up. You know what I mean? Not for you, I'm saying in general. I'm sure you've seen this shit.
Sure, sure. And I've even fallen victim to it, because I get pulled into their circles and they talk shit about me. I talk shit about them. Not cool. Not cool.
I
Definitely
don't
not
give a
cool.
fuck when you
Um,
talk about me. You can say whatever, but when you start bringing like innocent people into it and threatening and doing all that,
yeah, it's not good. A lot of that goes on. And that's
how do you
something I
want?
think we have.
What do you want? Like and I'm trying to like have a resolution. I don't want these things to happen to you. I
Yeah.
want to go
We have to
down to your
deal.
level.
We have to deal with it, be aware of it, recognize it, and help people understand it. And at the same time, make sure that we don't engage in it, and then we can naturally disperse those things which don't serve us. And a lot of people need help. There's a lot of people out on the internet that are struggling to find their path, and they want guidance, and they want, appreciation and gratitude and succor. And sometimes they're looking for, what's the word, asylum or sanctuary. And we got to be the low ground and help provide that spiritually anyway. I try to help out all I can. I know you probably do too.
Yes, sir. It's a work in progress as always. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Good magic. Keep pushing it forward, getting shit done. Another transmission. We're at the quarter hour point. I have probably got to roll here in about 10 minutes, guys. So, um, Cage, any final thoughts on the great existential crisis of our era? Right?
I'm more interested on the 100-day challenge. Right? That's why I came up
Okay.
originally. Yeah, I've been seeing like what you're putting out there. And I'm like, all right, that's something that people can invest into if you have the time and all that.
Yeah, 10 minutes a day, man, for 100 days. Try to do it at the same time every day. You don't have to. If you miss seven, if you shoot for 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and you don't wake up until nine,
You know what I've been doing purposely, Frank?
do it at 9 a.m. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been, I have literally boxes. I've like, I have unlimited timers and all that. But purposely, what I do is, my plants, right? It's on flower mode, so 7 a.m., 7 p.m. I wake up every time, no matter what, and I do it on purpose, not because I have to, because I want to. Yeah. So I force myself to unplug and plug in the lights twice a day, every day at 7 in the morning, 7 a.m., 7 p.m.
Yeah, that's good magic. Take a moment when you're doing that. You could contemplate the way of the psionic agent, and just even like I say that even if like you contemplate the idea around
So
the
I'm
same
making it.
time
Look,
every
I'm
day.
making it hard on myself on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can put a fucking timer right there. I'm looking at right now and just have it automatically be done.
And think about in the past, like you may have experienced translocation or telepathic communication with a loved one. Like maybe someone wanted to call you, your mom or someone, and you thought of them before the phone rang. Right? That's a form of telepathy right there. That
My
happens quite
family
often
always
with
asks
people.
me to like help them out. Right? They're like, "Okay, should he do some of the magic for you? The good magic, as he said." I'm like, "Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you." Or like,
yeah,
like I'll call and they'll be like, I was just thinking about you. I was about to call constantly."
yeah. They say in the psionic realm, clairaudience is like the hearing of sounds or voices, and that's the
Yeah,
kind of
clear
thing that's
audience,
all.
yeah. Clairvoyance,
Yeah,
clear
that one.
audience, clear.
Yeah, that one's only happened to me a couple of times. I experienced telepathy quite a few times, but like clairaudience or clairvoyance, clairvoyance more so than clairaudience. But like clairaudience, I've had a few encounters with like a genuine word being spoke from the invisible realm, and that was pretty rare. I have to admit that's a pretty rare one for me. But that's not one that I'm focused on right now. Right now, I'm focused on. I don't know if you know this or not, but my one of my beloved brothers, Frater Tomas, died on March 26th, 2024. So just over a year ago. So like a year and what, 2 weeks now? Yeah, March 26th, 2024. So a little over a year ago, like a year and 2 weeks. And I've been seeking to find answers because I never got an official like cause of death, and he was only 47. And so I've been seeking to commune and bring forth the hidden information about his situation. So that's something interesting. That's a part of my 100-day challenge this time around.
Mr.
I don't,
Fritter Tomasia. Tomasia.
yeah, I don't recommend it for the average individual though. You should have a very clear reason if you summon the dead. And for me, like me and him, we had a pact. We were going to do a 100-day challenge together, and he was going to co-teach it with me, which he did about 3 times. We worked on like 3 different 100-day challenges together, but then he just suddenly died out of nowhere. So yeah, he has to answer to his spiritual
Did he
contract
actually?
with
I don't think he died.
no, he disappeared from this realm, and they burned his corpse, right, and put him in the urn and in the
And
ground or whatever.
he's still around, guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah, he's still there. He's still there. Yeah, there's a process according to most traditions that you have to go through and then come back. Other final thoughts? I got about 5 more minutes to hang out here, and
That's
I got to
about
roll
it.
into the abodes of
Thank
the
you so
future.
much for having. Sorry. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm sorry if I
Yeah.
interrupted or anything.
Do you have a channel you want to shout out or?
No, none of that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you've come by before a couple of times now, I believe. And
I
yeah,
think
so
this is
that's
the
good magic.
second time. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you stopping by to say hello. That's always good magic. Yeah, join me on the 100-day challenge. Like I said, you can check it out at, let me show you here real quick while I've got you with me.
I want to shout out the 100-day challenge. I want to shout out
Yeah,
Frank Monday's channel. Yeah. What about
yeah, I
that?
can appreciate that. Thank you for that. Give me a second here. I think this will work. Not sure. Um, I don't know. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, so if you go to buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday, this is what the coffee page looks like. If you click on the posts section, you can go here And we've got Psyonic Agent Syllabus and a welcome. This is like a welcome message here. But this one, you click on it, and it's like,
Frank, can I tell you something really fucked up?
go ahead.
Yeah, when I was really hungry, I think like whatever, like I found something in like pocket. Sorry, like it's not like one of those things that you put like a Keurig, but it's like those like instant coffee things, but they're in like a tube.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, I just ate that.
Yeah, I can feel you there. So
Have you ever been
here's the
hungry to
first.
eat instant coffee packets?
No, yeah, I've never done that. This is the meditative practice for week one, which is actually a 10-day. So there's 10 days there. And then it has some expansion on that, some guided ideas for each of the first 10 days. And then I'm now in the second week. So week two, mind control through meditation. And I'm on day 5. So I'm down here at concentration techniques. So today I worked
Mm.
on activities to enhance concentration, and I did some sigil gazing. You can do candle gazing, and then talking about it here on the show.
It's
So
interesting.
yeah,
I'm not to interrupt, but have you ever heard of Franz Barden?
yeah, of course.
You know
That's a
Franz
familiar
Barden,
one.
like initiation to
Familiar.
hermetics, and they do all these concentration techniques and that. It
Yeah,
reminds me
that's a familiar
like your
fellow,
program
definitely.
reminds me a lot of Franz Barden. I
Okay.
know your name's
Yeah, it's good
Frank, but
magic.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I based it in part off of him as well. Um,
So
this is.
it does. So you're saying it does have an influence from it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, of course. So
Okay.
this is the essential. Yeah, where you can get the syllabus if you want to join along and follow the day-to-day practice. But it's up to you guys. You do it at any level. Like I said, I described it in a couple of sentences, so you don't even have to read the material. You can just do those things which you deem necessary at those times each day for 100 days, and that'll take us just past the solstice. So the 100-day challenge will finish up right at around the time of the solstice, right? A little bit after. It's like a few days to a week after the solstice, and that'll be
Well
it, man. That'll
planned,
be good
Frank.
magic. Yeah, yeah. Been doing it for I think 5 or 6 years now. So here on my channel, if you guys are interested in more challenges, I think there's 5 or 6 of them here on the channel, maybe 7 by now. Who
Before you
knows?
moved to Asia, or whatever, you're Canadian.
No, I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm Californian.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
My
same.
Yeah, my dad was a New Yorker, and my mom was born in like Arkansas, but they met in Texas. So a very interesting story. But they moved to California long before I was born. I think my mom and dad moved to California in like 60s, maybe even
As a
earlier, maybe in
kid,
the.
did you guys travel a lot or something? Like you're being moved around?
No, not at all. My dad was a Navy guy. He spent 22 years
Well,
in the
yeah,
U.S.
that's what I was
Navy.
alluding to. The station you in different places or whatever.
No, his last station was Long Beach, California, which is LA County, and that's where I
Really?
was born there. Yeah,
Okay.
he fought through World
Interesting.
War II, the Korean conflict, Vietnam, all of it, man. His ship was the most active ship in naval history. So that it was a destroyer, and he said the cannons were firing from the time he got on the ship till the time he got off. 22 years of firing 16-inch cannons at various enemies. So that's a lot of fucking cannon work, man, right there. The ship had
Hey,
13
Pops
silver
fucking
stars.
deals with it either way, right? Yeah.
They kept firing their cannons, man. 16-inch guns pounding the enemy for 2 decades. Very
Yeah, you're
challenging
gonna put it
feat.
on them, right? It's forever.
Yeah, it started in D-Day, man. They were pounding Normandy, the
D-Day, huh?
Nazis.
What
Yeah,
do
he
you, what
was
do
in
you know
D-Day.
about in with the D-Day with the Canadians in Normandy?
His ship was everywhere in the Pacific
You know
theater,
the
man. They
Canadians
pound.
rolled through, and you know the Canadians rolled through and made the shit happen, right?
I'm surprised the U.S. Navy doesn't pound people like that anymore. I've heard recently there were a couple of instances of the U.S. Navy pounding people. Um, we're not at that level of production though, and like destruction and warfare anymore.
Mhm.
And hopefully we'll never go back to that kind of thing. You know, people talk about World War III and shit.
Well, it's not.
That's
It's
no
not even
joke, man.
fair anymore. They're like, I'd rather fight someone with a sword or either, at least like point a gun and have aim. But now, like
Right.
they just blow you up with shit.
That's no joke. You don't want the U.S. Navy pounding your country. That's no kind of fun you want to fucking experience. You know what I'm saying? All right, man. I got to roll into the abodes
Mm-hmm.
of the future. I got shit going on, people showing up, and very good to have you, Cage. Thank you for joining me today, and
All right,
enjoy
Frank,
the
take
rest of
care,
your
and
day.
everybody look into the 100-day challenge. You know what I mean? And Frank, thank you so much for having me. Everybody, take it easy.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Cage. Good day to you, man, and I will see you in the abodes of the future. All right, everyone. That's going to be about it for today's show. We got a couple of hours in, pretty good. Cage stopped by to talk shop here on the 100-day challenge, Way of the Psyonic Agent. I absolutely invite you to join me on this 100-day challenge, whether you start now or later, or if you've already begun. Just keep doing good magic, right? I'll head up the temple here in the esoteric order of Dagon. Once again, like Finnegan, if you've got a yin to expand your kin, then come with me and practice Zen from here in the central kingdom of the celestial dragon twilight zone, old Peking, far behind the bamboo firewall. Nose to the grindstone, rolling with the punches, working hard for you. And make sure you guys, you put the lead in my pencil, a little pep in my step, and I appreciate that for sure. You can check me out at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. A little something, something in the tip jar, and that keeps everybody uh, being happy. Let's finish off today's show with the invocation of total integration, because that great master, he told us, invoke often, inflame yourself with prayer. So here it is here, guys. Heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous universal law. As the original oneness expresses itself, growths and subtle energies become distinctly divided. My bodily cave is brightly illuminated by the mysterious light from the three sources, my three Dantian, bridge points leading to immortality. The powerful spirits of the eight directions conjoin my being with the true origin of life. By the absolute order of the divine Ling Bao in the highest ninth heaven, extend the positive energies of Qianluo, Dana, Duncan, and Taishun to destroy my spiritual obstacles and debilitate any evil influence. This order is given by the highest sovereignty. It is a jade oracle from the subtle origin. I invoke with strong sincerity to drive away the demons and evils and lengthen my healthy years. The attained spirits respond. The evil demon king, Mo Wong, is chained to stand as my guard and servant. The powerful atmosphere has been generated, dispersing all negativity. The Chi of Tao is everlasting. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Once again, like Finnegan, everyone, if you've got a yen to expand your kin, then let's get zen. Check me out on buymeacoffee.com. Hit the likes and subscribe. Leave a comment on the video. Participate in the 100-day challenge. Way of the Psyonic Agent. Your friend and well-wisher, Frank Monday, signing off. And do good magic at Astra per Aspera. Carpe diem, Wayfarer. See you next time.